Yeah, like last one today. Woo!
It is indeed. It's all right. I've been going for trophies, right?
Hmm.
This last number of days,
Oh,
and
I like
I
going for like the
thought,
weapon ones and that.
yeah, and I thought, well, the best chance I've got of getting the all pyromancies trophy
Hmm.
is my original character on Dark Souls.
Okay.
Um, because that one was I pretty heftily like concentrated on pyromancy stuff, and I'd imagine there's only the odd one or two to pick up, and the new content doesn't really count because even if you get those, they don't count towards the spell.
Aye.
And this is just the original Dark Souls, and it's the saves from the original Dark Souls can't be imported into Prepare to Die rather. So I'm booting up this character for the first time in the longest time, just to, and I was like, oh, to what level I was on? 190.
Jesus. Is that
Remember,
on regular game?
yeah, no, this is new game. This is new game
Oh,
plus.
okay, good.
But remember that this is the character that I used when I hadn't got a clue what I was doing.
Yeah.
When it wasn't kind of, oh, I'll throw all my souls into Titanite shards and I'll bring in bro ops and all that kind of stuff. It was the point where it was just sort of like, oh god, I'm really scared.
Is this your confusing struggle character?
Yeah, I wouldn't. I mean, I wouldn't say necessarily confusing struggle, but um, it was the one where none of us knew what we were doing.
Hmm.
I didn't know, in inverted commas, the proper way to play the game. And yet I wouldn't take away this playthrough for anything. This was one where, nowadays, if I got to the Berg, I might bro up the Asylum Demon and the Black Knight, and then
Hmm.
bro up other people's games, build up loads of souls, and then run with things from
Be
there.
tough for the parish and crack on like that.
On this one, it was kind of, I got the Black Knight sword. I was like, oh god, I think this looks really powerful. I'm only like, my strength's only like 12, and I'm sure I need like 24 strength to wield this. I'll just and then just literally circled round the parish for about a million years to level up to like strength level 24, and then kind of cracked on quite a bit from there. Went through quite a few places and stuff,
Hmm.
but it was. There's so much information out there about Dark Souls now, like such a huge amount of information, and people have played it and replayed it and mastered it. That there's almost a charm to thinking back to that original playthrough because
Hmm.
it was great. And as much as I really really enjoy it now, I think back to some of those struggles and the lack of information that was there, and it's really really
The
cool.
stupid stuff we do when we don't know how to do it better.
Well, I mean, there've been refinements in the game since then. I mean, obviously there's tons and tons of warp points, but there wasn't back then.
Hmm.
So I remember being uh, going through to Blighttown and visiting the Pyromancer there, and then going on to the Demon Ruins and just staying there forever to try and raise about 500,000 souls to then go back to that pyromancer and get the stuff, because I knew that if I went back up, I couldn't just jump to Blighttown.
Hmm.
In fact, I'm not even sure I had the Lord vessel at that point.
Oh well, even
Uh,
better then.
I think it was that case of I'm gonna have to camp down here for a while, because if I go back up, I don't know if I'd make it back up.
Hmm.
There was real tension as to what I could do and what I couldn't, and formulating little plans and sort of trying to fight within those tight little pockets until I got a little bit further, and brilliant charm in it. And I'm sure even those like yourself who've kind of come into Dark Souls sort of a little bit further on, we're all going to be in that boat when Dark Souls 2 starts, and it's fucking amazing.
It's gonna be great.
I remember Kevin Van Ord of GameSpot like tweeting like mad, saying like I've got this thing on my head and I don't know how to get it off. Half my power's gone. And like nowadays, people are, you might jump onto Wiki, or people will just go, "Oh, you just need egg vermifuge. You can get one from the forest, or they sell them at the sewer merchant." He hadn't got a clue. None of us had.
No.
Um, and so it took a while for that information to get through, and it was everybody was playing the game, and the journalists like tweeting and sending information back and forth, and that was exciting. But yeah, I had no idea my character was under level 190. I kind of thought that they'd be about 126.
Yeah, that's respectable.
I'm having a look at the build now as well. I've still got the Demon Spear +5. I've got the Tower Shield +14, which I haven't used since this playthrough. Black Bow Faris 14. Mask of the Child, Dark Armor, Wanderer Boots, Wanderer Manchette.
Yeah, I love them Wanderer Manchettes.
Let me see what my stats are. I've got Vitality 45, fucking hell. Endurance 46, Strength 46, Dexterity 41, Resistance 24, Intelligence 29, Faith 22. So, yeah.
They're big numbers.
They are, but I had no idea I'd gone up to 190. Oh, and I've got 199,823 souls in the bank.
just a few.
I could probably level up.
Probably could.
Mind you, I think probably at this point one of my levels will probably be around about that point.
Well, judging by the speed they've been going up, I'd imagine that's not far off actually.
Yeah. But yeah, it's kind of exciting to go back and see what I've got, and it'd be interesting to see, because I'm going to match up the pyromancies, and I think I'll probably have to go to. I don't think I'll have. I bought the one that's sold by Rickard of Vinheim.
Yeah.
I don't think I've got that one, and I think there might be one in Blighttown that I've not got, but I think more or less everything else is there. So to do that for the trophy is going to be quite cool.
Just hunt down that last one or two. I think you get a pyromancy from the Chaos Servant Covenant, definitely.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've got that.
Cool.
So yeah, it's. I mean, I've said before, I've got a few playthroughs over a few games, and sometimes it's difficult to get my head round as to
which one you are and what you've done and what way you're playing it at that point.
Yeah, but it's just really it feels quite charming to go back to this original kind of Dark Souls character. Because Prepare to Die only came out. Was it October last year?
Might be. Sounds about right.
Yeah. It might have been August. I don't know. But it's only been out since then. So even that first vid that I did on Poly with that the farming tip, I think, was with this character. So.
Oh, with the hat of chests.
Yeah, the I can't even think of it. The Mimic's helm.
Yeah, that's what it was.
So, but yeah, within this last sort of amount of time that we've been sort of away from each other, we've had vastly different games. I think
vast experiences.
That's going to be quite exciting to report.
Hello again, everybody. You are listening to Twin Humanities. What?
That sounded like English wasn't your first language.
I have
again, everybody. I am the Paddy, and I am here to talk to you about the Dark Souls.
You say that I have kind of crossed my hands and kind of linked my fingers in that kind of Mr. Burns sort of pose.
Beautiful.
Yes. You're listening to Twin Humanities, the Dark Souls podcast. And this, my name's Paddy, always joined by my friend CJ.
Waves.
Weeb. And this will be our last one. I'm sad.
Unless we talk lots about Dark Souls next week and then just decide to do another one. That may be like, it's the Rolling Stones last tour.
Yeah. And let's be fair, that is incredibly possible.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this is what will hopefully be a wrap up on the series. I finished the game last week. Finally, after many times, yeah, after a good 5 months, I think it went to five very long, enjoyable months. Um,
Careered straight into NG Plus, didn't you?
I basically went immediately in straight off the bat, and it's interesting actually. There's a few things I noticed on the new game plus that is really really cool.
Mm.
Firstly, and I think this bleeds over a bit from when you try your One Bro run or your Iron Bro run or whatever. When you play those first couple of levels again, two
Mm.
things. One, they're still really fun.
Yeah, they are.
And they're still like, wow, starting fresh again. I mean, a little bit less with the new game plus because you've got your cool weapons and you're just walking around twatting everything. It's pretty fun. But secondly, you've forgotten all the tricks.
I think there's a degree of New Game Plus when, and I'd wager it's impossible not to go straight into New Game Plus because I think most people do. I
Mm.
mean, even straight after they finish the first game, like, all right, then let's go. When
Didn't even hit the sides. Yep.
as soon as that cutscene sort of kicks in for Undead Asylum again, it's like, yeah, right then. And there's that feeling of feeling incredibly powerful
Mm.
in a place where you once really quite tender.
You were tender. You were a mewling lamb with no wool on your back.
Yeah, and I think there's something to be said for that because it's literally like cutting through enemies like a hot knife through butter. And I remember you saying that it took you a while to die,
Yeah,
even within that.
I think I got past. Where did I get to? I got easily past the gargoyles without dying
Hmm.
to that point. I think when I finally did die, it was a really stupid death, like just against some regular guys. I think it was a really dumb one with just some random foot soldiers. I wasn't paying attention, and they kind of surrounded me into a corner.
I think it's
Uh,
easy to become cocky.
oh, definitely. I think my first real bit that was difficult in the whole of New Game Plus was Capra, a guy I'd previously just walked through.
Yeah.
And I was stuck on him. It took me about 5 or 6 goes to punch through Capra because it's those dogs. And I must have
Mm-hmm.
gotten lucky that first time because those dogs, they pound you into a corner if you're not careful.
Mm-hmm.
And the way they position themselves, you can't get out. And you just see big old Capra just kind of just strolling towards you, no rush, and he brings both his swords down on your head, and then it's all over because you couldn't move. So I had to kind of relearn how to fight Capra again because I've never had problems with him before. And just now, it wasn't even the strength of the attacks; it was just the way the dogs were pounding me into the corner. It was the positioning, not the damage, that was the problem. And that's bizarre because I thought at that point he'd just hit me once and I'd be dead, but no, it was moving around in the meat space and getting the body in the right position is the issue. And again, I've kind of trolleyed through with blinding speed. Who have we got? We've got the Asylum Demon, who I took down before you have to run around and come at him for the second time. When he first jumps in, just straight into him with a sword, dead. We've got the Taurus Demon, dead in 3 hits. One of them was a jumping stab on the head, but yeah, it was dead in 3 hits. We've got who came next? We've got the Bell Gargoyles. They went down pretty easily, almost one shot. Capra was the first stumbling point, but I did all right there. Depths in and done.
Did you get Capra first time then?
No, it was first run through on New Game Regular. Yep, down in 1. This time 7 or 8 goes.
Because I thought you said it took you until quite some time to die.
Yeah.
But
I've been
was
playing.
Capra the sticking point, or was
Capra
that
was where I
the
got
Hydro?
stuck. Yeah, and that was only because of the moving around. And I think I did get a fair way without dying. I mean, I think I did something else as well. I can't remember. What are the other areas that you start with? It's Darkroot Garden. Walk through
There's
Darkroot Garden.
the Gargoyles, Moonlight Butterfly.
Moonlight Butterfly was easier by 100 million miles than it was the first time,
Because
and I barely even touched it.
Moonlight Butterflies where I died on my Wombro run.
See
And I
now,
was like, really?
now
Of
you'll
all
like
the
this.
places, and I'd even taken Beatrice in with me.
Now you'll like this, right? So New Game Plus, heading through Dark Group. Okay, so I'm trolling through, and I'm just taking out the guys. I've got my fiery Kellogg sword. I'm taking them down in 2 or 3 hits. It's a piece of piss. You know, they are going down. There's no worries there. They're going down. Trolling through Stone Giants. I got my club out, and they were down in a couple of hits. So yeah, remembered the Smack Hammer, how good it was there, and it's still good on New Game Plus. It's still just as beef. Picked up Beatrice because I got a thing saying I'd been invaded. I was like, crap. So I grabbed Beatrice and just sort of panted it and ran for the boss door. And I got there without being, assaulted by the invader at all. I didn't see him.
Yeah.
Went through the door. Moonlight Butterfly starts flying down. So I get a magical shield out. I run to the other end of the thing, get a magic shield out ready. I turn around and Beatrice has already taken out half of its health.
Yeah.
And I'm watching Beatrice. She's throwing like the 6 homing soul arrow things at it. And it's taking off like, maybe a sixth of its health in every single shot.
Cool.
I'm like, what is going on? And the thing landed. I had to go up to it, maybe twat it once, and it was down. I was like, it was incredible. Like, why weren't you that strong the first time? Why didn't you have all 6? So maybe the NPCs get like mega buffed for New Game Plus as well, because she was throwing way better magic than she ever did the first time.
Potentially, yeah.
Yeah, so maybe the NPCs all get a buff, and particularly in the case of Beatrice, it's like, yeah. Speaking of NPCs, this time I summoned in both Solaire and Lautrec.
Oh, cool. I've not managed to do that yet.
Yeah, I did them for the Gaping Dragon. I got both of those 2 in, and again, walked through the level. It was easy peasy. Like, didn't even hit the sides, because all the shortcuts are now. You can just sort of, jump on the rat, kill the rat in one shot, slide down the little ledge, botter straight through the door, and just run behind the Gaping Dragon and twat it up the arse. And Lautrec and Solaire were working fantastically.
Cool.
Great team. Really, really good team. And it's in the depths that I noticed something interesting as well. Because previously I was under the impression that if you're in New Game Plus, you can bro up with other people who are also in New Game Plus. And I think I've seen evidence to say that is wrong.
Okay.
Because I hung around in the depths. I was farming the slimes for Titanite shards, and just for something to do while I was waiting to be summoned in. Because I thought I need some souls, and I'll just wait here because this was a good spot before. Got summoned to the Gaping Dragon dozens of times. It was always a fun fight, so I'll pop my sign down and wait. So I'm tottering around as you do, and I get summoned in, and there's a guy with I think he's got the dragon heads, like the Dragon Covenant stuff. So I sort of gave a little bow, and he gave a little bow, and sort of did a little dance as you do. Got another bro in, and we started going through the level. And I noticed that those amoeba slime things, they were going down in a single hit from my sword.
Yeah.
Which was weird, because in my New Game Plus game, when I was running around and taking them out for their souls while I was bored waiting, they were taking a good couple of hits each. Like, easy. Like, say my sword does 250 damage, they were taking 500 before they'd die. And these amoeba things, 1 hit, done. 1 and done. So I can only presume that this guy has clearly done most of the game except the depths. Or is just power leveling all the time.
How bizarre.
Yeah, because the Gaping Dragon fight was over in like 30 seconds.
Is that person still on your PSN list, or would you not be able to identify them?
I don't think I'd know. I wouldn't know who they were now. I should have thought, I should have done that. I should have asked them. Oh, now it's going to annoy me. Okay, I'm going to have to hang around there a bit longer and see if I can find someone else like that. But I was astonished at how easy everything was. And it's like, he must have been in his new game. So maybe you can bro up with your friends regardless of which NG plus they are in.
I don't know.
Which would be brilliant. And what else I've noticed about New Game Plus is that, yes, enemies have more health, but they also drop like 5 to 6 times the amount of souls as well. I have been leveling up at the speed of sound.
Yeah, they do kick out.
I think I just cracked level 125. And that was in maybe 2 days after beating the game. and I beat the game at about level 90, well, level 100, I think it was, give or take. And I've easily gained about 20 levels very, very quickly. And what I like that. I like that I don't have to kind of, because before you get to a point where the leveling up becomes a slog. And you're like, okay, well, if I'm going to level up now, I'm going to have to go do either this really hard place, or I'm going to have to grind these really crap people over and over and over and over and over. And now you can go in and, like, just running through, say, the Undead Burg. And I almost had enough to level up just from the Burg and the Taurus Demon. It's like, I'm at the point where it's like 80,000 souls per level up. I'm like, that's amazing.
Uh-huh.
And I like that they've balanced that up so that it is worth, hanging around the quote-unquote easy levels to level up a bit if you feel like it. So there's the level up points are still relevant.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that. I really, really liked it. And like I say, because I've been leveling up so fast, I have been trolleying through at the speed of light. Mm-hmm. I've got the Lord Vessel on the second day. Fatty and Skinny went down in one shot. Again, Orms and Smorg have not killed me in my entire gameplay so far.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how that happened. But yeah, Fatty and Skinny, down in one. Who else have we got? Who's the other earlier bosses? I got through... Speaking of where they live, another interesting thing I've noticed. The Duke's Archives. Now, the Duke's Archives I think it's quite a hard place.
I'd say so.
Yeah, I mean, we struggled when we were catching you back up to me to do the final boss area that we didn't do together, but that's another story. We were going through there, and we were having trouble there, weren't we? It was a tough area. Because those undead crystal soldiers, they do not arse about. They run in and they smack you. And I discovered a lesser-known pyromancy that got me through that area with very, very minimal nightmares.
Go on.
Yeah, the pyromancy is undead rapport.
Uh-huh.
And I believe you can buy this from Laurentius, the guy you rescue from the depths, who turns back up in Firelink. I think you can buy it from him. Failing that, definitely the Pyromancer in Blighttown Swamp.
Yeah, it sounds a bit more like hers, to be honest.
But basically, what it does, it's the standard fight for me spell. So you hit someone with it, and then their eyes glow a bit pink, and they're yours. And it's a beautiful little animation as well, because what you do is you walk up. It's not very fast, so you might get hit if you're not careful. So don't use it when you're surrounded by guys. But if you've just got one guy and you can take the hit, it's worth doing. And basically, your character will kind of get his fingers, kind of point at his head, like at his brain, and then he'll just kind of point forwards at the target, very much like you see you, got your number, kind of animation.
Over there.
Literally, he'll point at his head, and he'll say, "The person on my side is stood there," and their eyes will glow pink, and they will fight for you. And that's so useful in the Duke's Archives, because those undead crystal soldiers don't arse about. So if you can tag one of them, he'll turn around and then run off and go fight another one, and they'll usually take each other out.
So how do they get on with regards to fighting one another?
It's very much like watching AI fight. It's very, very watching AI fight each other. So they'll both stand there, and essentially it will look like a Warcraft fight. They'll just sort of hit, hit. You won't see the sort of advanced moves they pull on you. You won't see that. But if you get an archer, they'll shoot at the person you're fighting in hand to hand, and they'll try and take out the person you're fighting like that. It's amazing. Getting taken out by an archer from the side. It's like, I've got friends. And then you can go up and kill them when you finish with them as well, before they sort of turn back and attack you again.
I know when you sort of mentioned it last night, I because it's something that I haven't used. I took a look on where was it? I took a look on YouTube and had a go up at some of the playthroughs of it, and yeah, I saw somebody in Undead Parish doing it on one of the Boulder nights.
Oh,
yeah, it's really, really kind of cool.
Yeah, it's a great little one. I mean, it's got a really slow cast time. It's really slow, so you've got to get your window and go for it. But if you get it in, it's my new favourite pyromancy. It's going to get used everywhere. I love it. I really, really love it. What else have we found so far in New Game Plus? Oh, yes. The biggest stumbling point I've come across. The biggest one, which I'm past now, but I was stuck for a while. And it's not a not particularly strong enemy. It was the Hydra.
Yeah, go on. Because I remember when I first went into New Game Plus, I kind of tra la 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 through much of it, and then I think Hydra was my first sticking point as well.
Yeah, you see it in the distance, think, right, I know exactly how to do this. So you walk up and you put your shield up and you think, right, piece of piss. Trolley on forwards as you do, take out the crystal golems, and then the Hydra starts to kind of belt its water magic at you from a distance.
Mm-hmm.
You think, okay, and then the water magic is occasionally hitting the golems and killing them. You're like, brilliant, this is great. I'm getting through this really easy. The last kind of 20 meters approaching the Hydra is the worst bit.
Mm-hmm.
Because you'll be running forwards and he'll be belting that magic at you from no range.
Mm-hmm.
Even with a really sturdy magic shield, I was still getting shield broken and still getting killed. And it was blasting through my stamina like that, like literally in a second. And like all of my health bar gone in a single hit. I'm like, what is even happening here? And I ended up being really cheesy. I found a point behind a rock where the magic was just missing me every time. And I just battered him with arrows from that point, because this is 9 or 10 attempts in and I was over. I was done with it. And I was trying to fight him like I did last time, where you get your sword out and you go up close to kind of get him to nut the ground and you run up and stab his necks. But you get close and he was still doing the magic attack. He's like, I can't defend that at this range. So I ended up getting very upset and impatient with it and just standing behind a rock and belting him with arrows from a distance. And it was a cheap win, but it was a win, and I'll take it. And then from that point on, then trolley back up to Havel and battered him in one shot. So there's that. Havel's a piece of piss the second time round.
You see, I still fear Havel. There's something about his attacks that
he's too fast for a big lad, isn't he?
I think it just naturally turns my stomach a bit because of the memories that I've had with him.
You remember the pain.
I do. I remember sort of how difficult he was to kind of get my head around at first, because he's not a boss at all, but he was difficult to I don't know to counterattack, and in that initial run, really having a shield up didn't help you. It was kind of jumping out the way at the right time and then twatting forth thusly.
It's a positioning game.
Yeah. So yeah, there's still a part of me that kind of clenches a bit when I.
Well, I'm scared because I'm hot footing it to the new content. Because Polygon regular Fox McCloud, she has beaten most of the game and is in New Game Plus and hasn't done the new content yet. And I said, I'll help you. Yeah. And I was like, well, we'll bring CJ as well. We can all do it together. It'll be great.
Sounds good.
So I'm trolleying forward to it. But like Artorias, I am having panic attacks thinking what I'm going to do on that, because. Like, I think the official count of my attempts on that was 36.
He's the man.
He was not arsing about, and I'm really worried that he's going to batter me into next week.
Well, yeah, he is difficult on solo. It has to be said.
He's difficult. So I mean, he was even. I did try a couple of times bringing bros in as well, and even then he was sort of battering.
I presume in New Game Plus he'll be hitting even harder, but I've not got experience of him in New Game Plus.
The only reason I could beat him was because my shield was good at absorbing his blow. If he's going to hit harder, I'm dead.
I know in the main game, Jay Taylor of Ken and Rince has just hit Calamite, and is suitably as frustrated as he is impressed.
Telegraphing your attacks? What's that?
Yeah. No, sir.
What are you going to do? Whatever attack I feel like, whenever I feel like it. Yeah. F you.
What are you going to do?
And I tell you what was interesting as well. It was going back through the bottom area of Darkroot, and going back through like where the Hydra is, and thinking that's where I fought Calamite. Going out that big ladder, thinking I know which big ladder this is. Because
the first time I acknowledged that, which was through one of the Varty video. Vids on YouTube, was like a, oh my god, it is.
Yeah. And you see it and you think, oh god, I know where I am. Ah.
It was a real level of what?
I mean, the Sanctuary Guardians I'm not looking forward to. The giant albino chimeras squat in the new content as well.
Mm-hmm.
Jeez, I never beat the pair of them together. I moved on. I left them. There was no that was something I didn't feel like giving myself to. So I decided to leave that. But yeah, I'm kind of trying to hot foot towards the new content. But then again, I'm also clearing out areas that I've done that have taken forever and really battered through them like no one's business. Mm-hmm. And Orlando actually was one of the few areas that I made some very rookie mistakes on.
Uh-huh.
Like, we're talking the stupidest mistakes you could possibly make. Mm-hmm. Because you'll know in Anne Orlando, you go down the ladder, the elevator, and you walk out and you fight the gargoyle, and then you get to the first sort of bit you can summon people at. Mm-hmm. That sort of bit when you get invaded quite a lot. So I brought two guys in, brought two friends in, and we sort of like, did the old hello, waving, and then sort of pointing at the way to go. Mm-hmm. I run up the little, the crenellation that takes you up to where the painting guardians are in the rafters.
That's a fantastic word.
Crenellation, yeah, thank you. I run up there, jump off, get into the building, take care of a couple of them, head up the ladder. Between us, we sort of shoot out the ones that are hovering on the rafters, mm-hmm. and we start moving forwards carefully and slowly. And I fell off like a dick, and I felt, and I think I put my controller down, and I think I said, "You idiot," to myself. Like, I have not fallen off that ever. And it was because the enemies were gone. It was just not paying attention and walking off to one side. And I was like, oh, I'm awful. So what I did is I respawned, and I found my voice carvings, and I put that into my thing, my I'm sorry one. And I went back to the same summoning point, and I found one of the guys that I'd originally summoned, and I brought him back in. And he came back in, did a little wave, did a little shrug, and I dropped the I'm sorry. And I think he liked that. Because he threw down a very good. But this is when I made stupid mistake number 2. Mm-hmm. This is worse than that. As stupid as jumping off a rafter is, this is worse. So I got my bros in, we did the old, I'm sorry, very good, and got another guy in, walk up the crenellation, and we go to sort of roll off onto the little balcony, and I managed to roll in the wrong direction, landed on the roof, and slid to my death. And at that point, I gave up for a couple of hours, because I'm clearly not in the right mindset of doing simple tasks.
Because you can't blame the game at that point.
No, that was me. That was no one but me. They were my fault. I cocked up.
That puts me in mind of the point where you beat the Moonlight Butterfly and you climbed up the stairs and then fell off.
Yeah. Climbed up the big long staircase and managed to roll off the top and fall to my death.
That was truly beautiful.
It was a horrible moment. I didn't feel good about that. And you pick up a homeward bone there as well, so I could have just used that and come home, but no, I'm going to save my supplies. Like a spaz. But really, I mean, the rest of the game, I've been trolleying through pretty quick. Rescuing the NPCs, getting them back nice and quick, sort of battering through the Duke's archives, only dying at Seath so far, when you're supposed to. And I got all the way to the bonfire, halfway through the Duke's archives, without a single death. I was amazed.
There's something that I saw at the weekend. Well, I heard it at the weekend and then saw, where it was one of the speedrunners was talking on Bonfire Side Chat, and somebody figured out a way to not do that Seath fight, and I have no idea how somebody initially found this, because it is mental. But you get on the elevator, on the first elevator to the top of the Duke's archives.
Yeah.
That first room where you've got the blue golem and stuff.
Oh yeah.
And you pull Oh, it isn't that. You go to the second elevator,
Mm-hmm.
the one that does take you up there, and once you're up there, I think you pull the lever to send um the elevator back down, and then you jump in the top left-hand corner, and
Okay.
if you do, you land on one of the banisters of the elevator, and you can then jump off to the next level of Duke's
Wow.
archives and completely bypass that cease fight. And the guy was saying that even though he was kind of messing about a little bit trying to do it, he says it will still save him 6 minutes on a speed run compared to and I was like, how did you even find that out?
That is mental. That is some grade A level of let's see what I can do with this.
It's those people that kind of try to break the game like that. And somebody discovered that if you do the sort of exploit that where you can get past ceaseless discharge without fighting him.
Okay, yeah.
That the place where you would normally get a bonfire after that, there is no bonfire. It's the
Oh.
only place in the game that does it. So is that tied into some kind of lore as well? So that's bonkers.
Crazy.
Stop it now. You're messing with my head. Miyazaki, please.
Well, speaking of ceaseless discharge, I've beaten him on my New Game Plus by hiding in the little tunnel and hitting him when he puts his arm out. But in that area as well, I also went to go visit the Fair Lady once I'd popped Kellogg. And of course, thinking back to the awful moment when you discover Solaire has gone mental. And I thought this time, no. We're saving Solaire if it kills me. So, I joined the Chaos Servant Covenant, which you use where you give her humanity, which will open up a shortcut that you can use to kill the bugs that make Solaire go mental.
Oh, does that open up the shortcut then? When you join the Covenant?
You join the Covenant and you need to level it up to level 2. And you do this by giving her humanity. Which is fine, you give her the loose. Well, you kind of pop it so it's in your thing, and then you give it to her from your little counter in the top corner. The only problem is, I'm an idiot, and I had read up that when you get to like so many humanity, the shortcut opens up. Right now, me being clever, I thought the shortcut was in the same room as her. Because the corridor continues on a little way, and then there's like a flat wall in front of you.
Yeah, there's a sort of sandy-coloured wall.
Yeah, and I thought, right, that's the shortcut, so I know when I've done it because it'll open. When I started giving her humanity, I had 47 loose, and about 7 twin humanities.
Whee!
Yay! I know.
Because that is the name of the podcast.
When I decided to stop because I thought it hadn't worked, I had 1 twin humanity left, and I had 3 regular humanity left. So when I totted it up, I think I gave her somewhere in the region of 50. And you only need to give her 30. Because the shortcut isn't there.
Okay,
the shortcut is past the Demon Ruins. Before you get the Fire Sage, you go to the right, and there's a tree that goes down to a big corridor. The shortcut is at the end of that corridor. And I wish I'd have been paying attention when I'd read that stuff, because I've wasted about 25 humanity on that, and I've got basically nothing now.
Yeah.
And that's been built up over the course of the whole game, and now it's all gone. And I was slightly annoyed with myself, and then I kind of read back on it again, like, okay, that the website I went on tells you exactly where the shortcut is. I'm just a pillock. But I have gone there, and I've killed the bug, and I've got the Sunlight Maggot, which means Solaire will be safe.
That makes a part of me very, very happy.
I'm so proud. And I've also not killed Onion Bro yet, either.
I like the word "yet" that you inserted.
Well, I saw him.
Foreboding in that.
I unequipped my sword, and then I spoke to him. And then I walked a good few meters away, and then put my sword back on. because I didn't trust myself. I did accidentally nobble the giant blacksmith in Anor Londo by accident. I sort of hit him with me. He went, "What are you doing?" And he started punching me. I was like, "Ah!" and ran. So I've cocked that up.
So have you confessed your sins yet?
It was 58,000 souls.
You got to get it done, mate.
I'm going to get it done, absolutely, but it's going to take a little while to get through. And yeah, I think the level I'm at now, I think I need 90,000 souls to level up each time. So my New Game Plus has been going well better. It's been going well better than I thought it would.
I'd imagine though, if you did a few runs of the giants in that opening square of Anor Londo, or a couple of circles or a few circles of the Forest Covenant sort of run with the shield up, I'd imagine you'd be all right.
No, it's okay. I mean, because the souls are leveling up as you go, and because I'm progressing quite fast, I am getting them quite quickly, which is nice. So it's not that big. It's just having 58 grand and then going back there.
Yeah.
It's usually I'm like, I'm here now. I'll go back in a bit, and then I'll level up first, and then I've spent all my souls again.
But you gotta get it done.
I have to, because otherwise I'm not going to get the cool boss weapons, such as the Manus Catalyst, which I bought, mate. Which you were right, it is a magical catalyst. You can also use as an axe.
But there's also something else that you can do with Manus' soul, which I found out.
Is there?
That if you go to Snuggly the Crow.
Yeah.
In the Undead Asylum, you can actually drop it, and Snuggly will give you a piece of dark magic in return. And the magic sort of is quite hefty on the scale to use it. I'm pretty sure it's in the 30s or even the 40s to use it. But the interesting thing is, and I don't know if this applies to all dark magic, but oh my word, if this is the case, that it doesn't just and you think to Manus, and this actually ties in, it doesn't just level with your intelligence, it scales with strength and dex as well.
That's interesting.
Magic that scales with strength and dex.
That goes in with what I was doing before. I was trying out Black Flame.
Yeah,
and it said it deals physical damage. I was like, wait, what?
Well, essentially, because we've seen the spell that I picked up, and it's the one where it looks like kind of lots of really big tadpoles are coming towards you through the air.
Yeah, okay.
Dark Bead, the one where they've all got faces like humanity on them, and it's working almost like I can't even think of the name of it now. The one where you've got sort of the blue dots above your head.
Oh yeah. The soul mass one, I think.
That's homing. The one, it's similar to that, but they move much more slowly apparently. But we've seen that in our game, because I know we've had those come towards us, and it's quite hefty. But I had no idea that the damage that it was doing wasn't just with intelligence; that it was actually scaling with strength and dex as well.
Bonkers.
Which is because you think that they've only introduced this with the new content as well, a whole new magic range.
Yeah.
And they've even hidden some of it in places like I'm sure there's some in the Painted World and other stuff. So yeah, very interesting.
Very interesting. Oh, okay. So we've talked about my New Game Plus adventures. That's about the most of the stuff that's happened to me so far. I'd like to hear about how you've been getting on, because I think have you been one-broing?
No, I haven't.
You've not?
I've been very, very quiet about what I've been doing, and it's been quite the adventure. So when Paddy and I last gamed, we were both going to have a run at Gwyn, and Paddy ended up being summoned instead of coming into my game. He'd been summoned into somebody else's. Was that the case? Or
no, we were trying to get you into my game, and I got invaded, panicked, and got 2 other people in.
Yeah, that was it. And then you went on to Gwyn and killed him, didn't you?
Managed to go through the door not knowing it was the boss door, and oh my god, he's the boss.
And at that point, obviously, you couldn't come into my game because you finished.
Yeah.
So yeah, I kind of took stock of things, and I'm sure at the end of that night, I just either went to bed or just started laying down sort of soul signs and jumping into other people's games and getting a few more souls. But but mainly kind of picking up sort of Titanite chunks. And I remember reading years ago, people saying that it's a great place to before you go into New Game Plus to farm for chunks and all that kind of stuff. So I was like, yeah, okay. And then I started to think to the stuff that I hadn't done to get the achievements, and I was thinking, well, I haven't leveled up a chaos weapon to get that. I was looking down the achievements. I haven't leveled up the chaos weapon to get that. I've never bothered with enchanted. I've not bothered with magic. So I'm getting blue titanite chunks here. So I could probably do those. And I just started thinking laterally about the things that I hadn't done, because if there's anything that I'd really like to do with Dark Souls, it's platinum it, because I've not done a platinum on a game before, and as much as I've played the game, finished it on the original Dark Souls and gone to New Game Plus, then with the Prepare to Die editions, I've had my own game, the game where you and I have been bro op in, the Iron Man Run one, the bro op one, and then even the stuff on sort of 360, a couple of games on there. I've had loads of fun doing different builds and trying different things, but I've not hit all the achievements. So I thought, right, I'll see what I need to get. I did the enchanted one and magic, and then went down to Vamos and did the chaos one.
Okay.
Noticed that crystal was one, but I'd not done that before, so went and did that, which is an interesting one to do, because obviously once you've done a crystal weapon, the weapon will break. But even a regular longsword was doing about 400 damage when I tried it. So it's an interesting variation that I could try on further playthroughs. I thought, right, well, I've got a bit of Twinkling Titanite here, so I'll start throwing that into like upgraded Chester's coat and the Witch's coat, and just sort of saw a few weapons and was like, yeah, because I got tons of chunks, and I was breaking those down into large Titanite shards and Titanite shards, and just generally kind of dotting the I's and crossing the T's with that, and seeing the achievements rack up. And currently those achievements are 81% now, which is great, because I'm a little closer. Cool. I think a lot of the things that that will tip over the edge with that are things that I have to do in New Game Plus, with because for the rare weapons achievement, a lot of that takes 2 boss souls to do the various weapons and stuff, and obviously there's only a certain amount of slabs per game as well.
Sure, yeah.
But then I went evil, and that's when things went really interesting.
Okay. Let's define evil.
I acknowledged my place in this world as the undoer of worlds, and within the stuff that I hadn't done before, I was like, I've not fought Dark Sun Gwyn, and I've not turned Anne Orlando dark. So I went and did that, shot an arrow into Guinevere, heard her scream, my stomach tightened, went into Anne Orlando dark, and it's pitch black. It's super pitch black. It's Tomb of the Giants.
Ooh,
pitch black.
That's pretty black, yo.
And there's nothing there. The giants have gone. The demons have gone. Everything's gone. Went downstairs and was instantly attacked by 2 people, not invaders, but sort of two warriors, I guess.
Okay.
I'd already killed decided I'd kill the person outside the bonfire at the start of Anne Orlando.
Okay.
Like her.
The forest hunter looking person.
Yeah, she is actually a firekeeper. When you kill her, you get the firekeeper soul, but that bonfire goes out. So it means that you're stuffed if you need to kind of get back.
Yeah.
And you haven't tagged the Dark Moon bonfire. Went down and fought Dark Sun Gwendolyn, which was a really good fight. There's a few patterns to learn. It took me about or 4 times to kind of do it, because you're running down a corridor. Guinevere's got certain attacks that will go through walls.
Yeah.
You've got to get to him. Sorry, I'm calling Guinevere Gwendolyn.
Gwendolyn.
You've got to get to him, hit him, and then he sort of teleports further down this like nearly regenerating sort of hallway. And I got there with it, so that was fine. Got his absolutely wonderful mask, and his outfit's glorious as well. His top in particular, whilst wearing it, I feel like a girl at a Christmas party. It's a beautiful blouson, but on the back there's some gold wings. But they just look like they were bought at the pound shop. It's
like they've come to the Halloween party as an angel.
Yeah,
they're strapped on the wings.
It is kind of like that, and I felt very transgendered.
Yeah.
Running through wearing that as I went back to Firelink Shrine. I just wanted to see what it was like. But, yeah, very flamboyant.
I can imagine.
But yeah, so I killed Gwendolyn, and then I went even more evil. Then I was like, I'm gonna kill all the merchants, and so I went around and I killed what were the remaining merchants that I got. I'm trying to think. Oh, but as part of this, I killed all the blacksmiths.
Oof.
Yeah, killed Santa, killed Vamos, killed the blacksmith in Anor Londo.
Yeah.
Was like, oh, what was that despicable thing that I chastised Mike McWhirter about? Went and killed Hawkeye Goff.
Oh.
And then went down to New Londo Ruins and killed the guy that was in the behind the bars who upgrades magic.
Oh yeah.
Went to the sewers, killed the sewer merchant. I killed everybody.
Is there anyone left alive?
No, there was nobody left alive. And then went into kind of the final run on New Game Plus. And kind of when I went into New Game Plus, I looked over my spoils and I looked at the things that I'd gotten from those little things.
Yeah.
And the blacksmiths all have hammers. So I looked at, I think it was Vamos's first, which was all right, just kind of like it looks like a little sort of Duplo hammer. I think that might have been Andre's.
Okay.
Just kind of like a little sort of Duplo.
Just a hammer looking thing.
Yeah, and then Vamos's was kind of a little bit sort of longer. And then the blacksmith from Anor Londo's was just fucking huge. It was like this massive wooden mallet. Like massive, not particularly heavy, not as heavy as like the demon's hammers or anything like that, or even kind of those ones, the clubs that look like sort of giant Cadbury's flakes. But it looked like a massive wooden hammer. So I was like, fucking A, we'll have a go with this. So I sort of ran it into the game and like hit something, and it crackled. I was like, fucking hell.
Whoa.
It's not only an amazing hammer, but it crackles. Get this though, mate. I wonder what its R2 attack is. Bite onto your knuckle while I tell you this.
I'm here.
The right 2 attack is exactly the same as the club's.
Yeah, baby!
It's a jump in the air and a smackdown with the world's biggest hammer.
Oh, have a bit.
It's fucking awesome, and it upgrades with Twinkling Titanite as well.
Tasty.
So, and I got enough to. I've got enough to nearly now level it to a +5. I got it to about a +3 or a +4 before the start of the game. But that was cool. I've got there's even stuff I've not even tried on, like Goff's armor. Stuff like that yet, but yeah, it was kind of fun doing the sort of stuff that would normally turn my stomach. But then I'm now using a weapon that I've never used before.
Yeah.
Oh, and this was something else that I did as well, because I saw this on one of the RT videos, and I was like, this was at the start of New Game Plus. I was like, right, I'm going to try this. So from Firelink.
Aye.
Headed down to New Londo Ruins.
Yep.
Use the master key to open up the gate. ran through, did the undead dragon, wandered past, nobbled a few of the drakes, and went into the elevator at the end. Elevator took me up to Darkroot Basin.
Yep.
I think it was. A knight waiting for me more or less outside. Made my way up to Darkroot Forest.
Okay.
Turned left and attacked the Titanite demon from behind. So I was essentially fighting him with lightning spears from the Great Lightning Spear, chucking those in through the doorway.
Yeah.
Which is actually easier because you've only got like a little bit that you can either hit or can't.
Sort of cover, can't you? Yeah.
You can't get outside. So got past him, met Santa, said hello, went up and into Undead Parish.
Right.
And took out the Chandler and a few of the Boulder Knights and stuff. Still snickering to myself at what was transpiring, and then had a little bit of run around. And this is the thing: if you go that way around, you can go down, meet the 3 rats, go back, go onto the bridge. You've not met the Hellkite Dragon yet. It's not on the bridge.
Oh.
So then you can run straight to Sunlight Altar and unlock the gate to the rest of the parish.
What?
And so then I went there. Oh, at this point you've already got the key to Lower Undeadburg because you get that roundabout there.
Okay.
So went down into Lower Undeadburg really before doing Undeadburg.
Yeah.
Cleared everybody out from there. Went up and I was like. And I'd gone up to the point where it's that room where you've got 2 undead and you've got one of the sort of skeletal knights.
Okay, yeah.
There's a little bit of a run towards the bonfire in the midway point of Undeadburg. And I was like, well, what point does the Hellkite kick in? Because as far as I was aware, if you run to this point, you see the Hellkite Dragon landing on the bridge from a different direction,
and you sort of pant it and.
Yeah, but I was curious to see it from the other direction.
Okay, yeah.
And as I was edging closer, I was thinking, what's going on? And it's only the point where you get past where the Hellkite lands where he actually kicks in.
Oh, blimey.
And so the revelation was this: that as much as I was snickering and giggling and wasn't expecting it, if you fancy cutting out that bit between the bridge and part of Undeadburg, because you can still drop down near the merchant and go up the ladder and get to the other bit of Undeadburg.
Yeah.
If you fancy dropping out essentially about 30 seconds worth of game walking time, you never need to meet the Hellkite Dragon.
Mad. It's mad.
Which is just crazy.
It's absolutely mental.
But the weird thing is that obviously nobody's gonna try that run if they're first playing the game, because
no.
It's a bit roundabouts the houses. But it's in many ways it actually gets your progress quicker and is easier than running into Undeadburg.
Lets you avoid that flaming bastard as well.
Yeah, well, you can completely cut him out of the game, but
brilliant.
The main, even if you then sort of see him, he lands on the bridge and then flies off to the main bridge. You've got no need to run past him on that bridge.
Yeah, because you've unlocked the door.
Because you've unlocked the door from the Sunlight Altar. So you can then join the Sunlight Covenant. You can. Solaire will go back to there. And at this point in New Game Plus, because I got Gwyn's soul, I could trade that in for another upgrade to Great Lightning Spear. It's like Gwyn's Lightning Spear or something
soul
like that.
Soul Spear or something, isn't it? Or...
Yeah, it takes 50 intelligence, which I've not got.
I have 9.
But it was just a really quirky and cool thing that's clearly in the game that somebody found just by going, wonder if I can go the other way around. And you can, and it's completely legitimate. And I'll say I don't think it's a bug or anything like that. I genuinely think that they just thought, but let's see who finds this.
See if they can work it out. Yeah, it's brilliant.
It's great. It's great, and I know I can hear that's itching away at your mind now.
I'll have a go.
Yeah, because I belted through the parish, and but it was nice to have that bit unlocked because Hellkite does bother me.
When I've been trying to take him on in New Game Plus, I'm trying to kill him quite early instead. Because usually I just run straight past him. Trying to kill him, nightmares.
There's a patch on that bridge that he can't get you.
I've not found that patch yet.
There's a point if you go to the top of the stairs near where he breathes fire, and you then run because I used to go left and hide in that sort of left little pocket of wall.
Yeah.
If you go right and you stay there, for about a minute or so, the Hellkite won't move, and then it'll just jump onto the bridge. It'll stay there for a while and then growl a little bit. And as soon as it jumps on the bridge, run to where it jumps and hit its feet. It will breathe fire, and the fire will go everywhere but where you are.
Ooh.
And then it will try jumping to the other side of the bridge. As soon as it does that jump, make your way to the stairs again, and wait for it to go to the top of the wall again where it's perched. Then once again, do you run to the right hand side?
Batter him in the ankles.
No, wait behind that wall. Wait for about a minute or so, and he'll jump down. As soon as he jumps down, go for his ankles, and rinse and repeat. But there's there's a little pocket near where his feet lands, where the fire doesn't touch him. Or
See,
you,
that's
for that
weird,
matter.
because he's definitely, because the Hellkite Dragon is one of the only bosses I know, the enemies I've seen, that can regenerate his health.
If you fire poison arrows at him, that's the case. But
yeah, I've been firing arrows, all sorts of arrows at him, and it doesn't. He'll always cover up and always gain health back to a point where I gave up because I've been stood there for 20 minutes.
But this was something that I did before New Game Plus. I was like, right,
crazy.
I'm gonna have you fucker. Because when I first played the game, there was the glitch on the Hellkite Dragon, whereby if you climb to the top of the Knight's Tower, you could see him on the other side of kind of the tower, and if you shot him, he kind of jumped into the bridge and disappeared. Just like went, and then you got the rush of souls, which was bizarre. But yeah, it was really quirky to do that run, and obviously I've been sort of schmonching things with the new hammer, and it's been a bit of a laugh going into New Game Plus, but trying out that cheeky new stuff was ace. And also, who'd have thought that by being desperately evil, as I was to all of the blacksmiths, but to one of them in particular,
a belting thing.
Honestly, such a great weapon. I love it to pieces. I don't know how far it will take me, but currently, when I'm hitting things, I'm pretty sure I'm doing about 400 damage, which is great. And then there's also that wonderful jump step from the bunny stick that it's got as its R2, which is superb.
I call that move the FU.
But you know, when it did it, I could have clapped, and I wanted to jump straight onto Twitter and go, "Paddy, you'll never guess this weapon." But I was like, "Hee podcast."
Keep it quiet.
Yes,
love it. Well, I think it might be time now then, because we are drawing to the end of the whole show. And I think it's probably best to wrap up properly.
Yeah.
A proper wrap of the series.
How have you found your journey then within this? Would you say?
The journey with Dark Souls, I've had a better journey with this game than I had with Demon Souls. If only because I didn't take a few steps in that first journey, stop, go home, come back again 3 months later and try again. Mm-hmm. Like because I'd come very fresh out of Demons, it felt very natural just to start playing Dark and just get cracking onto it. And I think it's the world building of it is what keeps me coming back, and the way you feel like you're in an actual place that's all interconnected, and there's more than one way through it. And in the way that some of the bigger RPGs do, we're talking things like Red Dead, like Skyrim, these open world games that kind of feel connected. But it's not really an open world per se. It is levels that you're going through, but they don't just feel like straight lines. They do feel like actual places with hidden corridors and cheeky ways to kind of skip entire sections if you feel like it. It's so well put together, and there's so many different directions and ways you can take it. I mean, I've been watching a couple of speed runs recently on the old YouTube, and just seeing the way some people can like just skip entire chunks of the game, and I'm like, I was stuck there for hours.
Do you want to know what the record is?
It's something ridiculous, like an hour and a half, isn't it?
I think it's less than that. I think it's about 56 minutes.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Well, I did watch an interesting one. Just to digress slightly, which has given me an idea for a run. I clicked. It was a 2-hour, all bosses killed, shield only.
Oh, what was the ace one that I heard on one fireside chat? Somebody taking on the 4 kings, only with rolling in Kirk's knight armor.
Jesus, that's mental.
It is.
It's true, but yeah, that sounds like the kind of run that like a silly run, like just use shields. Or the idea of only picking a single stat and only leveling that one stat.
But I'm fascinated as to how you possibly write this game. Because I don't know if it was in the end of last week's podcast, or I actually think we'd switched off and we were still talking about it. But we had a moment with Petrus of Thoroland, which made me angry for days afterwards.
Oh yeah,
and we were both sort of talking about it, like what? And because Paddy had found Rhea's corpse, hadn't you, in the Undead Parish?
It must have been. It was that odd line from Oswald of Kareem that started it off, where he mentioned that Petrus was drenched in sin. I was like, him?
Well, if you actually look under where he is near Phylink's shrine, hidden under the elevator, where he's standing, is where you first find the invasion.
That's true.
Cracked orbs and all those weapons hidden. But the fact that he basically tells you, oh, she's in Tomb of the Giants now, you can do whatever you want with her, and that she's nothing without her family name. I can't. I can begin to tell you how riled I got because you were there.
I was there. I remember.
You were getting as angry as I was about it, and the first thing I did when I got back into my game was kill him. But bastard.
You'll be happy to know he's already dead in my new game plus.
But how do you write that? I don't understand, because there's various branching paths for the characters and stuff, but people are still discovering this, and there are characters that you might not interact with after a certain point because you naturally think you'd rinse them. You don't go there again. You've gone to a place and you don't bother going back. You've talked to them and you've perhaps rinsed them of spells or whatever they're selling, and you don't return. But the characters have still perhaps got dialogue for you, or there's still sort of hidden things. You were saying you were like, that's it, I'm talking to everybody. Yeah, I've since I started Vinegar, I've talked to everybody until their dialogue is exhausted, over and over and over and over. Particularly Lautrec. I think the thing is with Lautrec that everybody thinks he's a bastard because of the person that he represents from Demon Souls, particularly. Oh yes, a person that gives me great pains to remember. Yeah. But we were discussing the fact that if anything, Lautrec is honest. That he's doing exactly the same as you. He's after finding. I don't think he ever lies to you. He's a little bit cagey. He's cagey, but it's one of those things like said on a TV show where it was like, I wasn't lying to you. I was just telling you the bits about it that I wanted you to know. And I think that's very much Lautrec, and he's so focused on his religion and the fact that he wants to ascend and be with his goddess that he's doing what he needs to be done. and everybody sees him as this great bastard for that. But you're taking the role of the chosen one, which normally means the hero. Essentially, you're undoing the fuck out of that world.
Yeah.
It's a broken world for starters, but when you start analysing stuff about the Quelag and her sisters and,
all the
and brother, and
yeah.
when you start breaking all of that down, and even the ending is really ambiguous.
Yeah.
It's like, is everything fucked? Or
Did
is it
I
fucked
did
in a
I do
different
that?
way?
Have I ruined everything?
Yeah, and that's rare in itself. But
I mean, I did kill Lautrec in Anor Londo, but I felt bad about it because I kind of still wanted to kind of tick that box off and kind of go there and finish that off and get the Firekeeper back for Fire, because the Firekeeper at Firelink Shrine is a very handy one.
I think it plays into another game with the Firekeeper at Firelink, because she's such a sad, broken character. It destroys me. You know that conversation that you have with her when she returns?
Oh yeah, when she doesn't mean for her tongue to be regenerated. You're like, oh my god, and she doesn't even want to speak to you. And I'm like, was Lautrec doing her a favour?
Well, I kind of be loathed at that, but it's interesting that when you get to Undead Parish that he's locked away, presumably for murdering a Firekeeper, because there's a corpse on the slab that's being guarded.
Indeed.
And the first thing that you do, whether you free him or not, is you take on the creature that's guarding him, and you nab the Firekeeper soul.
Yeah.
so yeah, you are better than Lautrec, of course you are. But I just find it fascinating, and there was a quote recently which I've actually got an expansion on, which was the greatest tool for narrative is the world you create for it to exist in. A well-designed world could tell its story in silence. The narrative of your game should not be held captive by its cutscenes. And that's Hidetaka Miyazaki, the director of Dark Souls.
And what better way to finish off than on a comment like that?
Yeah, it's resonant, truly resonant, I think, and I think it's the enigma and the mysticism surrounding the game keeps people coming back. The fact that it's fun to play, certainly, but
well, I've got like 4 more runs planned out in my head. I want to play more. I don't know when I'm going to find the time for it.
But you know when the lore starts to get under your skin like that, and the world starts to get under your skin, and you realise that there's such a lot that you've not discovered. That's what keeps bringing people back. And we've said before that even when we've done like quick Iron Man runs and stuff, the game is fun to restart.
Oh yeah, totally.
Like, from the off, it's like, oh God. And even when you go from, if you went from New Game Plus as you are now to doing like a one row run or whatever, it soon squares up with you quite easily again, and sort of shows you its chin. It's you've not got all the greatest weapons in the world, and you're not as strong as you once were.
Right, I know exactly how to do this. I'm going to batter in, and oh crap, I've only got this stick.
And you do to a degree, but the world's still kind of waiting for you. But the interesting stuff after this, I think for you, is to do different builds and to try different weapons.
Yeah, I mean, I barely touched magic apart from the pyromancy, and that actually, this is an interesting point that I learned 2 days ago. Okay, so I went to go talk to the sorcerer that lives at Firelink, and I bought off him for the first time. Right, this is at New Game Plus. This is a few bosses in as well. The Bellowing Dragon Crest ring, which improves sorcery. Okay. And I had a spare bit of money. I thought I'd just buy some stuff up. I put it on.
Both of those rings are really good.
It made my pyromancy better.
This I
didn't know.
It has the thing in when I experimented with it in, where was it, Anor Londo, that if I'm firing poison arrows and I have one of them on, I'm not sure which of the 2 blue rings it is, but it makes the poison last longer, so I was having to use less poison arrows.
Oh, see, now I'm pissed off because I didn't know that would work I thought it would just work on sorcery. And I bought this ring, and like, my pyromancy is 20% stronger. Why the crap didn't I buy this months ago?
Oh man, I
was kicking myself.
There was one that when I was listening to Bonfire Side Chat, where someone asked the PvP guy about. Oh, there was some hilarious conversations there about the different builds, and the one that was making me laugh was the giant dad build, where
Right.
you do the giant's armor, you wear Mask of the Father, and somebody said like they were using like a specific server on the PC, and they got the two mates in, and one was giant mum and one was giant kid. We're all wearing like but yeah, the giant dad build was supposed to be quite funny. But
Giant family.
somebody said to him, which is the most underused of all the the weapons and spells and stuff, and he said divine retribution, because most people don't use it, don't realize what it is, and don't know how to take it when it catches them. And they were like, okay, we'll go into it. And they said, you use a shield that's not got 100% stability, but you've got divine retribution on, and basically the enemy hits you thinking that you're just putting your shield up, and the energy that they hit you with forms an explosion that knocks them back.
Nice.
And it said like barely anybody's using it, and it's incredibly powerful. I don't know if it scales because it is a miracle. I don't know if it takes the force of their blow and then amplifies that with your miracle resonance and stuff. But I was like, ooh, that's kind of cool.
I'm gonna go buy that.
Yeah, I even saw somebody in one of the runs I did before Gwyn, where someone invaded, ran headlong to the back of that to those dunes and disappeared, and I hadn't realised they'd disappeared up one of the side of the dunes, and myself and another phantom ran on, thinking that he'd gone across the bridge and gone down the stairs where the consecutive Black Knights are before Gwyn.
Yeah.
But he wasn't. He was waiting for the player to catch up.
Oh.
And myself and the other phantom had already run on. The player caught up. He just hit him with a massive explosion and killed him. Like that. And I was like, that's sneaky as fuck, and it's awesome.
Yeah, you sneaky, clever bastard.
But these are things like I was saying with the back entrance to starting the game and not seeing the Hellkite, and this.
Hello? Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Hello, you're back.
Yes.
I don't know what happened there.
No.
But it is still recording, thank fuck.
Cool. Well, it's just saying that it's fantastic that a game that's this old still has so many secrets that people are discovering, and I know that they were rushed to finish the game initially, but the final product that they've done with the Prepare to Die edition in particular is just a masterful product, a really, really masterful product.
It is beautiful. It is a well-crafted, well-put-together, beautiful dream of a game. And it's hard and it will put people off, but you should stay with it. Because I did, and my life is better because I did.
But if you are listening to these and you've kind of followed them through because you're curious about Dark Souls, or you're entertained by the podcasts, or whatever it is, please don't let the difficulty put you off, because it's been magnified 1,000 times. I even saw Adam Sessler sort of musing the other day that it was some sort of he felt like it was some sort of all-inclusive club, and that it might be this degree of cool, and that he's never had chance to kind of get into Dark Souls, for better or for worse. And there's a game that can potentially last you for always that's in there, and with the amount of information that there is and people that are enthusiastic about the game, there's always someone to help you. But don't be put off by what people say about the difficulty, because it's genuinely not a difficult game. It just requires you to think laterally, but it's not cheap with you on that.
No, it's not hard. It's challenging.
Yep. I've always said
and
that.
it challenges not only your technical skills but also challenges your brain a bit.
So how do you think that your enjoyment of this run that we've done has been furthered by the fact that we've been going back and forth between, you starting a game fresh and me being, you know, more experienced
It's
with it?
been great because what I've enjoyed the most about going through is that, I mean, I've been, falling in all the traps and all the tricks and all the silly stuff, and I'm sure you've been enjoying the tales of woe every now and again. I went down this corridor and oh yeah, I died.
People's adventures in Dark Souls anyway are just fucking great because you can guarantee that most of them are nothing like your own. There might be hints of it, but moreover, they'll be doing different builds to you, or they'll have little successes and little failures, and it is
Stupid
joyous
stuff that
to read,
happens on
yeah.
invasions, that kind of thing. Like there's a lot of unique sort of experiences to be had in there. And even as far as whereas you're the sort of the experienced old man, and I'm sort of the young grasshopper, learning the trade, and even as we've been going through, I mean, there's been some stuff that I've found that you've been like, what? Just to pick an example out of nowhere, the Petra stuff, which would never have picked up on unless you caught the odd bit of dialogue here or there.
Yeah, but that really rocked me.
It did, yeah, and it's been. I think my enjoyment of it has been amplified by the fact that I think because we have been talking about it and discussing it, and I think if I'd have played this fresh, I mean, not to say that if you play it on your own now it won't be as good, but I think if I'd have played it on my own, I don't think I'd have got as much out of it as I had I not been analysing it with you as we've gone. I think it has magnified my enjoyment.
I think it's the things that you've discovered often have been things that I hadn't discovered, or there's been stuff that we've done together, even areas that we've played that have been different in one game to another because there's been a certain factor that's kicked in one that like the Nito fight the other day.
Yeah.
Where there's been a sort of
forgetting the divine weapon.
Yeah, there's been like a random factor that throws everything up in the air, and there's not one way to beat things, but there's something quite old school about that back and forth and the discussions, and because it's not, things aren't set in stone.
Yeah, and it makes me more anticipatory, that's a word, of Dark Souls 2, because this time we're all going to be starting at the same time. And I don't think. I mean, I'd like to think that we'll come back when Dark Souls 2 is back. I don't think I can stretch it over 5 months. I think I'm going to have to devour it. I'm not even sure if I've got the self-control to do that. So.
But we said before that, I mean, it's certainly the case with myself, that Dark Souls may let you play other games, but it doesn't let you play them for very long. No. And there's something about it that makes you want to keep on playing, and there's a feeling that you not only want to go through a level that you've been through before, but you want to try it differently, or there's a sense that I'm constantly entertained by it, and I think that's the true fun. I adore this world, and I could genuinely walk in it. If I landed on a desert
not for
island,
long, admittedly.
If I landed on a desert island and was at a loss of what to do with myself, I could potentially know my way through all of this world by memory. If I was to just jog along the beach and think, right, I'm going down the berg now. Right, I'm climbing up some steps. I'm going in there. There's knights over there. There's the Hellkite dragons. I could walk through the levels, most of the levels, by memory, without being in the game. That's when you've got a true place that you enjoy walking within, because you know it. You know the places where it creaks, the places where it sings, the places where it snarls.
Yeah, I'm just enjoying that image.
It's true though, isn't it?
It's not just a level; it's a place.
Yeah,
it's a place. It's a place, and it's also it's a state of mind, because I can tell that Dark Souls has consumed me entirely. I can tell this very easily because Laura, my missus, has told me that I talk about it far too much. And that's how I know that it's consumed me. The other day, we were shopping, and we were talking about something or other, and she went, "You're not really listening, are you?" I was like, "I'm listening. You were thinking about Dark Souls, weren't you?" And I was, little bit, but so good. And she went, "Shut up, don't care," and walked off. So, yeah, it's consumed me. And frankly, March 2014 cannot happen soon enough.
Well, there was the aspect that you mentioned, which I'm sure I hadn't really dwelled upon before that about the game being so seamless and the way that it does load its levels and that it does feel like an interconnected world because of the way it kind of slides them in before you're there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it does genuinely feel like a place that's interconnected, and also that you can be somewhere and look down, and it's not the equivalent of a map painting. You are actually looking at the level way down there or way over there, and that sense of depth and the levels of interconnected is astonishing, and that's even before you start
finding the shortcuts, as it were.
Before you start seeing the new content and you start recognizing old versions of places new versions of places that you've played in the past, all that kind of stuff.
It's crackers. It's crackers, and it's almost too good. If there could be such a thing.
I'm really glad that you've clicked with it, because I know that Sean, when he first started playing, wasn't sure of it, and now he's sort of the mind that it's one of this generation's greatest, one of the greatest games that's ever been made. And I think that if you invest in that world, certainly, there is the challenge at the start of getting your head around it, but for all of those moments when you're on the edge of your seat, you see that's exactly where you should be playing a game. And that rush of adrenaline when you get somewhere new or you get past a certain part is unsurpassed. Just how tentative you feel when you enter a new area is, it might well be a fantasy land, but I think with the way that you throw your shield up and the way that you swing a sword, it's very intuitive within that, and it's easy to become one with that world. And because you're not, your character's not given a character as such, it's you, and that character, whoever you're crafting, is entirely who you are, and that goes against a lot of games as well. But I just think it's just staggeringly immersive. And that point where you start looking into speedruns, or you look into other people's games, or you listen to other podcasts, or you'd start nerding out on like Tumblrs and people's artwork, and there's not been a point where I've kind of gone, "No, I've had enough of this."
Will there ever be a point of that?
I don't know. You've seen that I bought the game again recently.
You bought that's your 19th version of it?
That limited edition steelbook, which is beautiful.
Beautiful.
And is also about £3 more than the regular version of Artorias of the Prepare to Die edition is going for on its own. So
it's fine, isn't it?
Yeah,
good deal. So there's, snap that up.
Yeah, and the artbook's due in October as well. So
well, I think we should finally draw our lines now.
Thank you everybody that's listened.
Yeah, I was also like to say that.
Or YouTube or anywhere else. It's been. We don't know what we're doing particularly, and we are rambling, but hopefully it makes a bit of sense, even if there might be a few technical cock-ups here and there with regards to getting the names of things wrong or getting the stats of things wrong. We're doing it with an open heart, and
yes.
We do appreciate anybody that's listened or messaged or just plain bloody enjoyed it.
Yeah.
So
particularly, just a little shout out, thank you to Sean, our friend Sean McElroy from Polygon, and also our friend Solias from Polygon, who got this all on iTunes as well.
Cool.
So thanks, guys, because I didn't know what I was doing there. And like you say, I'd like to just thank everyone for listening. Thank you to From and Mr. Miyazaki for making such a wonderful game that has broken me entirely.
And yet giving you wings. Beautiful golden wings on the back of a blouson.
So I can have a hero. I don't know what the words are of that song, but it feels appropriate.
Yeah, we were ending quite nicely.
We were ending. It's ruined now. Just final thank you all for listening to Twin Humanities. And we'll see you again in a few months.
Cheery bye.
Cheery bye.